Hey everyone, I'm Andrea Ferretti.
And I'm Jason Crandall. Welcome to Yoga-ish.
So we are back with one of our end of the year episodes, and we thought we would bring some joy and levity and talk about our holiday rituals and also how to navigate the holidays, how we navigate the holidays as introverts slash neurodivergent people.
Slash semi-quirky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very quirky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very neurodivergent, quirky family.
So this is always, I would say for the whole year, I mean, this is probably pretty common to others, but compared to the rest of the year, this is seasonally a really important period of time for you.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Is there something about this time of year that reminds you of childhood?
Yeah.
What is it? Why is it that this is such a like kind of a standout period for you?
Yeah. Well, I would say, okay, so it's no secret that I feel as though I was a very anxious child growing up. And the one place where I was not anxious was with my extended family. So my mom is the youngest of six. I have, I don't know, somewhere around 16 first cousins. I have lots of second cousins. So we would at Christmas time drive up to, and my mother was the only one who moved away from the family. So the whole Italian family was in Massachusetts. So every Christmas we would drive up to Massachusetts and spend Christmas at my grandmother's house. It was just a little walk up, and, basically like an apartment that she lived in. And so there were, I don't know, 50 Italian family members in this little walk-up apartment. And it was a magical, magical way to spend Christmas as a child with all of your cousins, your aunts and uncles. They were all, we were, of course, we were not a perfect family, but we were a family that loved to get together and celebrate. And my aunt would play the organ and all the kids would do like their little recital with all their instruments that year. And we used to, I don't know what time it was. I was the youngest again of all of these cousins. So somewhere before midnight, we would actually, all the kids would go downstairs to my Uncle Dimo's little apartment. He lived downstairs. And
Was it like a duplex?
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
a duplex.
Okay.
So we would go downstairs and hang out there. And, my cousin John would do magic tricks. And I don't know, when we got older, we'd be watching we'd play air hockey, watch MTV.
Yeah.
And then the adults would play cards. And at midnight, my aunt would come to the top of the stairs and ring jingle bells and say, Santa's here, Santa's here. And an uncle would dress up as Santa. And by the time you got upstairs, he was always like leaping out of the room or out of
Yeah.
So, and the room would be filled from floor to ceiling with presents because there were just so many people there. So it was absolutely magical.
Totally.
Really fun, really carefree. And I just always wanted to have that sense of family and fun and magic for myself with my own family.
That's amazing. It's so different than my family, right? Those Christmas was for the most part, like a good memories. It got complicated with my brother by the time I was 7 or 8. But when I was younger, it was a really just solid time of year, but it was much smaller, right? It was much more nuclear. My uncle would come into town and we would go to my grandmother's house. But at the most, there'd be 9 or 10 of us. And even that felt like kind of a lot. But it was always a very special period of time.
Yeah. Well, so that explains it for you, why I go so all out and crazy and I get so into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in addition to, like kind of the standard decorating and those things, tell everybody a little bit about the other things that we do, the other traditions that we've kind of established and are sticking so far.
I know it's hard as a small family and as a modern American family, you try to have rituals and they kind of change over time. But I would say that the main thing that has stuck is really just the cookie baking with Sophia.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do this ritual, but it's just really, really now is like ingrained in her. She loves to bake and she loves to bake at Christmas time. And she's gotten crazy good at it. And, we just had a party this weekend and she baked like 5 different kinds of cookies. And
We'll talk a little bit about that party because I think that party, when we start to talk about neurodiversity and introversion, is a really good like example,
okay.
both of what we're talking about now, which
Mhm.
is the ritual,
Mhm.
but then also how we manage more social dynamic interaction with the people that we are,
Yes. Yes. With
right?
the combo of people that we are.
With the combo of people that we are.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I mean this I don't mean this as a loving family member. I mean this as a discerning, sincere, culinary like appreciator with a refined palate. You guys make unbelievably good cookies,
Yeah.
like crazy good,
I know.
crazy good. And Sophia is really good,
Mhm.
really, really good. I mean, she made Linzer cookies the other
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
which are
All gluten free too.
all gluten free,
Mhm.
but no one would know,
Mm-mm.
right? I mean, they're just absolute perfection. And it's something I literally walking through the house today thinking, you should be proud not just for doing the work, but for having like the best cookies I've had.
I know they were really good this year.
Yeah.
They were really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of sweet because her great grandfather was a baker. My grandfather was a baker, and he worked at Table Talk Pies in Worcester, Massachusetts, and would the lore is that he when the kids were really young, he worked the overnight shift as bakers often do, right? They work overnight, so you have your fresh pies in the morning, and he would bring home pies to the kids in the morning to have for breakfast. We joke that it's like a Delolio breakfast is pie, and he was also really good with bread and pizza. And so I have memories of being. It was always like an honor if you got to make pizza with Grandpa. He made Sicilian thick pizza, and it was to this day it was the best pizza I've ever had in my life. It was just like salty and crunchy and tomatoey and like, and I've never liked any other kind of Sicilian pizza. Anyway, she's got it in her blood and she's got that amazing combo of, she's got a great sense of design, quite
Yeah, she
honestly.
does.
She's got the ADHD person who needs to be using her hands and needs to be busy and has like great sensory feedback with her hands. And she's very precise. So when she gets in a flow state, which she seems to when she's
She gets in
baking,
her hyper focus for sure.
she does a great job. So that has been really, really rewarding. And that's
Yeah.
been like the main thing. I would say, the other ritual we have
Is related to Italian.
going to Buonforchetta.
Yep.
So since we moved here,
Carlsbad.
to Carlsbad. When we were living in San Francisco, we often would still go back to Ohio for this one or go back to, see my mom for that one. And now it's really been we've really maintained like we're going to be in our home for Christmas.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago we started going on Christmas Eve because I love to celebrate Christmas Eve
Yeah.
because that's more of an Italian thing. We started going on Christmas Eve to Buonforchetta, which is our favorite local Italian restaurant owned by Italians. They have gluten-free pasta and pizza, which is like amazing. So we have another local thing that we love to do. There's so many great things to do around here. But one of the other local things we like to do is just to go to the Park Hyatt where it's just a nice hotel near us and they build like a huge gingerbread extravaganza. This year apparently it's going to be like a 12-foot chocolate tree. I'm
Oh boy.
so excited about
Totally.
that. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
You don't get to eat it, of course, but it'll still be beautiful.
I love a nice hotel.
Yes, you do.
I love a nice
You
hotel.
do. You are the guy who loves
And
a
let
nice
me
hotel.
rephrase it. I love a luxury hotel.
Yeah.
Now, I also love that it's there and we don't have to stay there. We used to stay there when we
Yes.
would visit. But we can go and do that. And it's the hot chocolate.
And we have the hot
We
chocolate.
have the hot chocolate.
It's so fun.
And there's a fireside. It's like really warm and pretty and cozy. And I don't know if this made the list because I forgot to look at that list. But do you remember what we did last Christmas?
Well, I was going to say we started a
Yes,
ritual
yes,
on
yes,
Christmas Day
yes,
last year,
yes.
and I didn't know if we were going to do it again,
I want to do it again.
which is to go
Absolutely.
to our zoo
Yes.
because our zoo is also amazing.
The San Diego Zoo is
Yeah.
as good as it gets.
We got to see the red pandas and regular pandas last year, and it was
Yeah.
not that crowded
It
on
was
Christmas
not
Day.
crowded at all. It was so nice. And it was just so nice to get out,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so having that, I mean, in a way, it's a little bit of an inverse of how you grew up,
Hmm.
but having just us, just a small little family thing together on Christmas Day, I think is so sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it is really our Christmas is very different from how I grew up, but I've always loved it.
Yeah.
I've still always it's still always been special, and but I do love that now we have these touch points. Like we have, okay, we're gonna go to Bon Forqueta. Okay, we're gonna go to the zoo. We have these little traditions. They help me, a person who likes to have plans and things to go out and do and
I think they
stuff.
also just help. It's, th- I struggle a little bit with having rituals for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure. I struggle with it. I struggle with wanting it because sometimes I have an aversion to just the expectation of I have an aversion. I have an inherent aversion to expectation.
Interesting. This is a little bit of like demand avoidance around
Oh, I
ritual. I
totally,
never knew
yeah,
that
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
was.
It's a total demand avoidance thing, right?
Oh,
But I also see how important it is to have that to m- like mark the passing of time and to pause, right? And to
exactly.
pause, right? To pause, right?
I
So
have to
I get
hand it
it.
to you.
Slowly but surely I learn.
I have to hand it to you. Like y- there are certain aspects where we're really different and you have always been open to accommodating my needs around these things and now I do feel like you see, especially just having a child, you just see the value of them,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also just value in developing yourself,
Hmm.
like, working through your aversions and,
Right. That's true.
right.
That's true.
Um, and so, but I think that my aversions around rituals is a demand avoidance thing. But I also think that most rituals are, for me, easily overstimulating,
Right.
right? And that's where I think that we can kind of,
Segue.
yeah, that's where I think we can talk a little bit more about, you know, people like us or like so many that are more neurodivergent or just even just introverted,
Hmm.
right? How to manage expectations and how to manage just the whole experience of more
Sure.
of an interaction.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
I just want to say one more thing that we do because I'm going to feel
please.
bad for my family if I don't say it, which is we get together with my side of the family now because they're closer and we play games.
Yes.
So we do that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting when I was thinking of this episode, I was thinking it took um it's all been very organic. I think the way we've developed these ways of navigating family traditions, getting together, it's all been very organic, but when I look at it now, it's pretty intentional as well. So, I guess what I want to say to people is if you have someone like if you have a child who has sensory aversions or who you suspect is neurodivergent, or you just have family that has expectations of you or your spouse or your kid that feel really uncomfortable, like it's okay to be you. And you have taught me this more than anything with family because my family, it was just all about pleasing. It was just all about, and there would be like hell to pay if you didn't. And it wasn't until you came into my family that you were just like, no, we're not doing it this way. It's just not going to happen. And people can throw a fit, but this is what we need to do. And so, along with that advice, I would say it's really important to front load expectations with certain family members. Like, if there are family members that expect that your kid is going to waltz in the room and say big thank yous to every present they get and kiss grandma on the cheek or hug them or whatever, you just it's going to be better for everyone if you just front load and say, and you could say it in what language they're going to understand. If they don't understand, my child is neurodivergent and they have demand avoidance and they're not going to, it's going to hurt their nervous system. You don't have to say it like that. You can say, we, she's not comfortable giving kisses and hugs right now this year. And so we're telling her, like, it's your body, you get to decide. Or, it's not always comfortable for her to say thank you loudly and look everybody straight in the eye. Just being really clear for yourself what your family needs and then setting those expectations ahead of time.
And it can be very difficult, but part of this is also letting other people have their own feelings and not taking them on too much.
Yeah.
If someone is disappointed that your child or your husband or spouse or whoever it is can't do X, Y, or Z expectations, if they are disappointed with them, then just let them live with that disappointment.
Yeah.
Let them live with that, with whatever that is within themselves. Let them have that.
Yeah.
You don't have to accommodate. You don't have to accommodate everyone's emotional complexity. Like, you really don't.
You can't.
You can't.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't. So let's say you choose to accommodate your
Aunt
kid's
Sally.
grandpa, right?
Yeah.
Like, and just randomly picking, like, let's say you choose to accommodate grandpa because he needs this done a certain way and he needs the kid to be grateful and he needs the kid to sit at the table, because if he can't sit at the table now, what's it going to be like? And then da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so you make grandpa happy to the detriment of your own little family unit.
Yeah, you
And
can't.
honestly, over time, like, it might not sound like a big thing, but over time, when you kind of denigrate your own little family unit and your child and their needs, like, they feel it and they don't trust you as much
Yeah.
because you haven't got their back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I learned when becoming a parent. Like, I always had everyone else's back except my own, or except my spouse, and then when it became my kid, it was like, this isn't making any sense. My job is to protect her.
Yeah. Let grandpa have grandpa's issues. And to be honest, that family member is allowed to have their feelings.
Totally.
They're allowed to have their issues. You can't expect to control their psychological and emotional profile any better than you can expect them to control you or your child's.
Yeah.
So people just need to let people have their own feelings in life. I think that that's something, like, culturally we've just gotten pretty far away from. There's another boundary that I think is so key to laying out, especially for people that are more introverted. Time boundaries. This is the thing I am really, like, this is huge for me, right? And it's really huge for Sophia, which makes me realize this is probably a big deal for more people realize. One of the hardest things for me, so my mom is also ADHD, but different version of ADHD than me, very time blind version.
Mm-hmm.
I'm time hypersensitive.
Mm-hmm.
She's time blind. And so as a kid, it was very difficult to trust how long something would take, because it could take minutes or hours.
Yeah.
And my mom can be like a run-on sentence in life, right? And so if we were going to go do something, I had no way of knowing how long this thing was going to last. And as someone that had and still has a limited capacity for engagement, if I didn't know how long something was going to last, I knew that it was probably going to exceed my ability to my tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to do anything because I didn't have a trust boundary in how long that thing would last.
Yeah.
And so what would I expect? I would expect it was going to last forever and exceed my tolerance. Whereas if I knew, and I'm going to give a couple examples. If I knew, hey, we're going to do this. This is a family expectation. You're going to do your thing. We are going to make it from X time to Y time. And when it became why time, it's time.
Right.
It's over.
If you make a promise
Yes.
about how long the duration is that you're going to stay, then you keep that promise.
And if
If the
obviously if
person
it's
struggles with
totally, and
these
again, like
things.
if it's just you and you know what I mean, like not, we don't, if you look, this is a place I'm uptight. Like I'm really uptight about like time duration things. If someone isn't that way, that's fine. You can be the life of the party. But when you are working with family members or you are similar this way, you really have to be bounded with duration commitments. You have to live up to it,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to give a couple of examples. I just told Sophia a moment ago, "Hey, mom and dad, we're going to go film." And she said, "How long?" And I told her what time, and she said, she wasn't by a watch. She said, "So what time will you be done?"
Mm-hmm.
She's upstairs. We're in the garage. She can walk in that door any moment. She knows she can walk in that door. But in her mind, that's an anchor point.
Mm-hmm.
Like that keeps her from floating away. Like she wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I give her that specific time.
Mm-hmm.
And I will stay true to that time. If
Mm-hmm.
something and if something were to happen, right, we're gonna be more than 5 or 10 minutes past that time, I'd hit pause and I'd go tell her, "Hey bud, we're gonna be another 20 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
Two more examples of this that I
I'm
have
going to
just
try
like
to remember my examples. Okay.
I just trust so much more. So I went to I've been going to a bunch of Clippers games, right? This is just backstory to that. But I just went to a Clippers game on the day after Thanksgiving with with family members, right? And I told them I'm going to drive separately and I'm going to leave at 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what time it is in the game. I'm leaving at 9 p.m. because I have a 2-hour drive back home. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that I need to I want to be back by 11, blah, blah, blah. Like, and so for me to say, I I am controlling, I understand this is controlling behavior, right? But like for me to be able to boundary my time and be really clear makes me not anxious,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. That's what people need to understand.
Yeah.
It's expectation
It's
setting. So.
expectation setting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the last little bit, this cookie party, right, that I was coming back to, you set the duration for this cookie party that we talked about earlier
Mm-hmm.
as 2 hours, right? It was 3 to 5. And so for me and talking to Sophia, hey, this is going to be 2 hours. Is okay. What time is it going to be done? It's going to be over at 5, which means if it isn't over at 5, you get to be over at 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I just feel like maybe this is obvious, but I feel like if I had more trust in time boundaries growing up, I feel like I would have less anxiety about going to things and doing things because I would be able to know like, oh, I'm going to be able to regulate. Yeah, can I do this for an infinite period of time? No. Can I do this until 9 p.m.? Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe. I think I'm not sure that would have expanded your tolerance if you'd known. I think it.
I don't know, but what I'll say is in this phase of my life, it is a huge anxiety offload
Mhm, right.
and makes me feel much more free to actually do things
Mhm,
as opposed to not knowing how long this is going to last.
mhm,
Then I'm like, I'm not going to do it at all.
mhm, mhm,
I'm not going to go to this event at all if I don't know that I can leave when I need to leave.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. So I want to say a few things. The first is that I think it's important to point out that um, people within a unit get to have their own needs.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you get to say, I'm going to leave the basketball game at 9. And Jim and Keegan got to say, great, we're going to stay for the whole time. And so if there's something in our relationship where like, I really want to go do this thing, or I want to stay longer or whatever, that's okay. And it's okay for you to not want to stay longer. My parents growing up, when we would go to my grandmother's house for this giant family gathering at Christmas,
I know who left early, right?
my dad didn't even stay over that night.
Mm.
All the adults would stay up all night. Okay. I mean, I think about that. They were much younger than us, but they were there and they would stay up all night. And my dad, who was an only child of a single mother and was not used to this giant family situation, he would go stay in a hotel and it was perfectly fine.
He knew the extent of his tolerance.
Yeah. And he would allow my mom to like be.
Yeah.
So I just want people to know, like, I don't think you're advocating for being controlling over me.
No.
You're just advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's important. The other thing I want to say is it's similar to, setting boundaries with your family members is I learned really early on, and I actually learned this from one of Sophia's doctors, that in order for Sophia to go to a social event, like for people who have anxiety, social anxiety, or like social communication disorders, which autism is considered a social communication disorder, and have a hard time like reading cues and reading the room and reading what you're supposed to do and when you're supposed to do it. A party situation could be incredibly challenging. Even if you want to be there doing it, it's just a lot to take in. So I learned pretty early on that it helped her if I would map out exactly what's going to happen. Like, we're going to go, we're going to walk in, it's going to be kind of loud. You put your present down over here, then you say hello to the person, then you do a lap. Like I give her like little tips, like you do a lap, you get a drink, you drink some water, you do a lap. I
feel like I needed to wish you'd walk me through this lesson.
I mean, and so, but setting the expectations to her of what's expected of her at a social event, not just for grandpa, but like, you're going to go, you're going to see grandpa, you're going to open your presents. It's so comforting to her to know what's going to happen. And sometimes she'll say to me now, like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like about anything. It can be about anything. And I say, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then at this point, it's going to be over. And then I say, like, how does that sound? Does that sound workable? And she's allowed to say, like, no, I'm nervous about this, or I might need to leave at this time, or then you can kind of negotiate. But for people who struggle with these things, just like talking them through it is huge.
Yeah.
And so that has to do with duration, right? It's like duration and expectations.
Yes.
What's expected of me?
Yes.
What do I need to do so I don't feel like I'm disappointing you, or someone's mad at me, or I'm doing something wrong? And then I would say the last thing is the cookie party, that we just had. I would say every step of the way, I consulted the two of you to make sure that it met your needs. You know what I mean? Like, had I just thrown a little Christmas party, I would have invited like half the neighborhood, plus the people that we invited. I would have invited probably the women from my writers group. I would have, you know what I mean? I would have just definitely just come one, come all. But that wasn't going to work. And so I asked you to, how about if we invite this group of people? This many people will come.
You know what just came up in my mind? Just so for all the listeners, you're right. But what just immediately comes up into my mind is this is how I probably would have countered. You know what? I think having more people here would be great. I think we should do something like that. I think this time of year with the size of our house, having 20 people in here is going to feel really cumbersome. Let's plan on doing something this summer where we do that. I know it's a ways out, but I think if we do it in the summer and we can open the back wall and have people in the backyard, then that would work better.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like this is a thing because as I'm listening to myself and as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about where's the line of control versus surrender? Where's the line in a situation of being a control freak versus being like, just like open to allowing growth? And what I would say is that there are certain situations that for some people, even after 51 years of life, are still really hard and they need to be managed, right? And so you understanding that it isn't just like a control issue of mine. It's okay, this is actually difficult.
Yeah.
So let's figure out a way that this works for both of us. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think like going back to the whole thing of having boundaries, there's this, there's this, oh God, I don't know if we want to go here because it seems even a little bit heavy. It's like this seems to be a much more modern movement of people like fully separating from family members that they can't relate to,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And to my mind, a part of this is when boundaries don't exist, like when trust boundaries don't exist in
Mhm.
relationships.
Mhm.
When trust boundaries don't exist in relationships, you kind of can't have the relationship,
Agreed.
right?
Mhm.
Right? You kind of can't.
Mhm.
Um, so I think just this whole clarity around having your own boundaries for you and your family is really important. And this one, the time boundary, I just think is really overlooked by people.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I think what you're sort of getting to as well is that all of this requires a lot of self-knowledge and some experimentation as a couple
Yeah.
or as a family.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we knew all of this in the beginning about each other.
No.
And I look back on our wedding and I'm like, wow, you were pretty accommodating. We didn't have a teeny tiny wedding with 5 people. We didn't have a giant wedding, but I wanted like a wedding.
Yeah.
And you were good with that. You just went with that because you knew that was really important to me. And I think you actually loved our wedding
I
and
did. It
had
was
a
great.
lot of fun at our wedding.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it does take some trial and error, and it takes you getting to know yourself and your own needs so that you can then actually express them to someone else. And I hope that Sophia will have that. She'll already have that when she's a young adult, so that hopefully she'll be able to express that to whomever, she ends up being close to in her life. Um and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to repeat one more time too, because I just think that this is an important thing to land on one more time briefly. We just have to allow other people to have their feelings.
Mhm.
If someone is disappointed because we don't meet their expectations, they're allowed to be disappointed. That's not you. Like they're allowed to have that feeling. We don't want them to have that feeling, but y- to allow to not to try to not feel the need to control everyone's feelings and im- impression of you in the moment, I think is important.
Yeah, I mean,
To have some emotional distance between other people's quick reactions.
I think the bottom line is we are not responsible for other people's emotions. And we all feel like we are if we care
Yeah.
about someone.
Yeah.
And I had therapists drum this into me. Like, that person can make themselves happy in the way that they want to be happy without you wanting to do the exact same thing as them.
Yeah.
I don't need you to want to go to a yacht rock concert, which I just did with my sister, and
And
it
I
was
did not.
super fun.
Totally.
I didn't need you to go to
Yeah.
that with me, for me to go do that and have fun and be happy.
And for the record, I think if you had said, I need you to do this
Oh
with
yeah, you
me,
would have done it.
I would have done it. But you know what I would have said? Totally fine. Let's like, let's make a couple of boundaries around it.
Right.
I will do this, but I, I'm not going to stay over. Even if it's the middle of the night, I'm going to have to drive back home,
Right.
or I got it. Great. Let's figure it out so that we aren't there for the opening bands. Let's get there right on time. Like
Yeah.
I would have had to figure out some sort of way to manage the totality of that demand.
Right. And so it's easier for me to just go on my own. And you would never stop me from doing that to make myself happy.
No,
You would never be like, well, I don't want to do that. So I don't want you to do that. It
no,
goes both ways.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
I want to just end with one final note for helping introverted / neurodivergent people cope with social settings, the holidays, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, if you're out there listening, you already know this, but like when in doubt, just go pet the animals in
Oh,
the
dude.
house. Just go hang out with the animals. They'll love you because they know they like game recognizes game. They see people, people who are good with animals. So just go hang out with the animals.
Go hang out with the animals.
Or you know what? Actually, there is one more point that I forgot,
Okay.
which you taught me long ago, and I use it with Sophia all the time too, which is to either give the person who's introverted a job or for them to like choose a role at the party. So for you, it's usually been the cooking role. Now
Yeah.
Sophia loves to like prepare and bake. I had at the cookie party, I had cookies for the kids to decorate because she didn't really know the kids that well that were coming. And I knew it would be good for all the kids to just have something to keep themselves busy. So, for an introverted person to, again, it gives them like a pattern of what to do and how to move through the social setting in a way that makes sense to them and where they feel purposeful and needed.
So I'm going to end on this. I'm a yoga teacher. I don't know if anyone out there knows that. Pretty popular yoga teacher. I feel 100% comfortable teaching 7 days in a row, all day long, 70 to 100 people in the room. That's very comfortable for me. When you and I taught that thing for Boston Children's
Mm-hmm.
Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and there were 700 people
Mm-hmm.
in the dome, totally comfortable. Like no nerves, no armpit, no hand sweat, nothing. Why? 2 reasons. Number 1, I have a role. And number 2, I know how long it's going to last.
Wow.
So, right.
Wish
So
it'd been that easy
in
for
terms
me.
of the social, it's also something that I love and
You
I'm
do all
comfortable
the
with,
time.
right?
Yeah.
But excuse me. But I think that this is like an integral thing to understand about introversion. Introversion doesn't mean that we don't have situational extroversion, right? So I can be very happy in a dynamic interactive environment. Like that's what I've positioned myself. Like I love dynamic interactive environments. But I thrive in ones that are role specific and time specific. I have much more overwhelm and anxiety and challenge when I don't have a role and when I don't know how long this whole thing
Mm-hmm.
is going to last. And maybe it'll last forever in my mind.
Well, and let's just real quickly, I thought you were going to bring up, so let's compare the teaching to 700 people not having any armpit sweat with being at a party the other night where there was a white elephant gift and everybody had to go up one by one and open a
I was
present.
like, I'm not doing it.
And we did it as a couple, right? We got a number as a couple. And you looked at me as people were opening their presents. We were toward the end and you said, you're going up and doing this, right? I can't do it. And it was like a party of 20 people.
And she had like this little back strain.
No.
She was like worried. I was like totally worried that I was going to have to go open some like corny present. And you were totally worried that you were going to
I was going to bend over,
explosion.
right? I was going to bend over just to pick up the present under the tree and then throw my back out, but we both managed.
Yeah.
So that's us at a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. Everybody have great holidays. Literally, however you have them, like whatever kind of norminess you are or quirkiness you are, it's just be you, figure out ways where you can relate to yourself and be well.
Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully shedding a little light on our internal workings makes you just feel really normal.
Yeah. Finally, if you ever do get invited to our house, look at the time the party closes.
You know what was amazing is that the first 2 people left because Laura had a little girl. And so that was pretty much a party of introverts.
Totally.
Okay. And every single person was like, woohoo, and just filed out of the party.
501.
It was incredible.
Amazing.
Great guests.
And you know what? You use a coaster in my house and you leave on time in my house. You are welcome anytime in my house.
Oh my gosh. He's not that bad, I swear. Oy, oy, oy.
It's a fun role to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Take good care of yourselves. Take good care of each other. And we'll see you soon.